Hey first graders, welcome back to the art room. Mrs. Ash here. I wanted to start off by saying today that I received so many dot pictures from last cycle. So, and I even said, I'm not really sure how we're going to be uploading, so you don't even have to worry about it. I am so blown away and impressed by all of you guys just really jumping in there and figuring it out. So awesome job on that. Thanks for sending me your art. I love seeing your art and getting to do it with you. So today we are going to start on a new lesson. And if you remember from last year, we talked about the elements of art. And what that means is, let's take a pizza for an example, okay? So a pizza, all the things that make up a pizza are the elements of the pizza. And so let's think, the elements of a pizza would be the things that make up a pizza. It would be like the dough, the cheese, the tomato sauce, and then any toppings that you like. Those are the elements of a pizza. And you could come up with the elements for lots of different things. But for art, there's 6 elements, okay? And those are all the things that make up art. And so if we go back over them, we talked about them last year. The 6 things that make up art are line, shape, space, color, texture, and form. And so we always start with our very first element, and that's line. Okay, and last year we talked about directional lines, straight lines, and the names of those. And so we're going to review that today for a lesson to get our brains back into thinking about art and to be thinking about using those lines. And then after we do this line project, we are going to do another one next week. So we're going to spend about a good month talking about line and all the different types of lines and how we can use them in our art. And then we will switch to another element. So the elements of art really guide us through our curriculum and give us some focus to know what we're kind of talking about that for that lesson and for that unit. So when you hear me referring to the elements of art, that's what I'm talking about, the things that make up art, the things that are important. So push this camera back so you can see my screen here, or my board here. Oh, I'm used to saying screen now that I'm a virtual teacher, huh? Okay, let's see. Cool. All right, I think we can see it. So it says, hi first grade, how can I use vertical and horizontal lines to make art? So now we have to think about what is a vertical line and what is a horizontal line. So vertical and horizontal lines are straight lines, okay, but they all go a different way. Or both of them go a different way. So we talked about it last year, so I might be thinking, which one is which? It's super hard to remember. So tell you, since we're not together, I kind of have to tell somebody, but be thinking if you had it right or if you couldn't remember. So a vertical line is the up and down line, okay? A horizontal line is the side to side line. And I remember horizontal because of horizon. The horizon line goes across the paper. Remember, that's where we say that's where the sun comes up, the horizon. It's the spot where the land and the sky meet each other. So that's our horizon line. That's how I can remember that the horizontal line goes side to side. Okay, so this one's our vertical line, up and down, vertical, horizontal, side to side. So we're going to be using both of those directional lines in our line project today. We are going to be using vertical, see there, I bumped it up again, horizontal and vertical lines to create a school building. We're going to read a book about a school building, and it's kind of funny. It's about a first day of school, and I like it because it's from the school's perspective or the school's point of view. So usually when we talk about someone's first day of school, it's about the kids' first day of school. This is about the school's first day of school, and I think that's kind of silly. So we're going to read about the school's first day of school and look at the illustrations and look at how the school is drawn here, and then we're going to draw a school similar to that. Now we know school can look all different ways, and this year especially, our school doesn't really look like this year, huh? Our school is at home for right now. So, but that's okay. I thought it would still be fun to draw a school, and hopefully we'll be getting back to school to see each other soon. So we're gonna read the book, then we're gonna draw the school. School's First Day of School. Story by Adam Rex. Pictures by Christian Robinson. That summer, they dug up the big field and poured the foundation and set brick on top of brick until they built a school. Frederick Douglass Elementary. A sign above the door read Frederick Douglass Elementary. That's a good name for me, thought the school. Most days, a man named Janitor came to mop the school and buff his floors and wash his windows. This is nice, the school said to Janitor, just the two of us. Won't be just us for long, said Janitor. Soon the teachers will come, and then you'll be filled with children. The school creaked. Children? All kinds of children. They'll come to play games and to learn. Oh, said the school. Will you be here? You'll see me after the school day is over, said the janitor. Don't worry, you'll like the children. But the school thought that janitor was probably wrong about that. Then they came, the children did, and there were more of them than the school could possibly have imagined. They got everywhere. They opened and closed all of his doors and lockers and drank water from his fountains and played on his jungle gym. So that's what that is for, thought the school. Some of the older kids gathered by the school's back fence and showed each other their bored faces. This place stinks, said one, and the school gasped. I hate school, said another with puffy hair to the agreement of his friends. The school sagged a little. One very small girl with freckles didn't want to come inside the school at all. Her mother had to carry her. I must be awful, the school whispered to himself. Later, he squirted the puffy-haired kid in the face, then felt bad about it afterwards. He watched the kindergarten kids sit on his rugs. The teacher said, "As we go around the circle, please tell us your name." There was an Aiden, and a Max, and a Bella, and another Aiden, and a Emma, and a Caden, and a Chloe. The small girl with freckles was next, but she wouldn't speak. She only stared at her shoes until the teacher moved on. I don't like school, she whispered into her lap. Well, thought the school, maybe it doesn't like you either. The children were in their chairs finally, but just as the school was starting to relax, his fire alarm sounded and all of the children exited and walked to the other side of the field and stared at him. He was so embarrassed. He held his doors open for them when they returned. Sorry, he said as the first child entered. Sorry, 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 he told them all, even the girl with the freckles. At 12 o'clock, the school was filled with food. At 12:30, the school was filled with garbage. At one table, a boy told a funny joke, and another boy laughed so hard that milk came out of his nose. Now I'm covered with nose milk, thought the school. He had to admit that it was a pretty funny joke, though. Even the girl with the freckles liked it. After lunch, the kindergarten kids learned about shapes. A rectangle has 4 sides, said the teacher. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a square has 4 sides too. In fact, a square is actually a special kind of rectangle. Wow, said the school. I did not know that. Afterward, the children made pictures with glitter and paste. The girl with the with freckles made a picture of the school. It looked just like me, thought the school, except glittery. It's like she's known me all my life. Do you think I could have your picture? The teacher asked her. Don't tell anyone, but I think it's the best. The school thought she was probably right about that. The freckled girl smiled when the teacher stuck her drawing onto the school wall with a pushpin. Ouch, said the school, but he didn't mind, not really. At 3 o'clock, the parents came to pick up the children. At 3:30, janitor came to pick up the school. I was full of kids, the school told him, and I heard a joke, and I accidentally had a fire drill, but everyone was nice about it. And I listened to a classroom and learned about shapes. You had a big day, said janitor. The school said, do you think you could invite everyone to come back tomorrow, especially that little freckled girl? Janitor nodded. I'll see what I can do. Later, janitor sat on top of the school and they watched the sun go down. In the beginning, I didn't know what I was, said the school. I thought I was your house. Nope, said janitor. I suppose some other place gets to be your house, the school added. Janitor nodded. That's true, but you get to be a school. That's lucky. And the school thought he was probably right about that. The end. Okay, 2 examples up here of the school from the book, school's first day of school. And here is one that a student did, and here is one that I did. And I wrote on mine West Creek Hills. You could write your school name on it if you wanted to write East Penn Elementary, or if you wanted to write West Creek Hills, you could, or maybe you're gonna make up your own school's name. That would be kind of cool. We're gonna draw it the way the illustrator Christian Robinson drew his school, so we're gonna follow what his school looked like, but it doesn't have to. So I'm gonna show you this way, but you don't have to make your school this way. You can decide if you want your school to be a little bit different. All right, so I'm gonna use a Sharpie, which is a black permanent marker. You can use a black crayon. I like to outline in black, but you don't have to. It's easiest for kids to see when I use this, so that's why I'm gonna do that. Alrighty, so I'm gonna start with 2 vertical lines. I'm gonna put them about a hand in from each side. Let's see, you guys know I'm not that great at drawing on a board. It's hard for me to draw straight lines. Let's see here. 1, 2. Now, it's not that straight. That's okay. All right, so it's all right if it's not perfect. We're just trying our best. So I made 2 vertical lines. Now I'm going to close them off with the horizontal. Now I'm going to add a little ledge on the top of my building so that it looks like so it looks like the roof. Okay, so I'm going to put a diagonal line. And you might remember that word. That's a corner-to-corner line, and we will talk about those a little bit later. And I'm going to close that off with the horizontal line. All right, now I'm going to add on the school's doors, and if you remember from the book, the school's door is where his face is. So I'm going to add 2 more vertical lines. And I'll close those off. Another horizontal line. We are making a lot of rectangles for this project. So in Christian Robinson's illustration, he has this little line here, and in there, that's where the little school's mouth is. So I'll put a little smile in there. And then this is his doors here, and he has a door handle on this side and a door handle on this side, which makes the nose. And then he has 2 squares for eyes. You can fill them in completely if you want. Let's make sure you can see here. Or if you would rather, you could leave a little white spot for a glare. Okay, I'm gonna add a little white spot. So just pick a little spot that stays white, fill the rest in black. Oh, my school is looking so cute already. Okay, so now we're gonna add in the windows and the window panes. So we're gonna add in rectangles for windows, which are made up of horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, let's see here. So I'm gonna do a window on this side and a window on this side. I'm gonna put in some panes. Depending on how big your window is, will tell you how many window pane spots you can have. I have 6 in mine. I think in this one over here we have way more. We have 9. Okay, and I'm going to put 3 windows across the top. That'll be 1. That'll be 2. That'll be 3. And now I can close all of those off with horizontals. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's see if I can fit more window panes in here. I'm going to do a hashtag symbol. 2 lines down, 2 lines over. It's like tic-tac-toe. Oh, he's looking so cool. Okay, so it looks like my school building is finished. If you want to add on the flag, you can. He has his flag in this picture, kind of sticking out of the front of the school, right on here, or you could put it coming off of the roof. I think I have it on the roof, yeah. I can put it coming off of the school if you want that too. And you could make your flag. You could put on an American flag. You could make up a school flag if you wanted, which is all made up of vertical and horizontal lines. Man, maybe I'll put a little ball on the top of my flagpole. Now, for background details, we talk a lot about making or adding interest. So I want you to come up with what background details you want to add to your picture. Are you going to put maybe a little road behind your school, or maybe bushes or trees, or maybe a sun and clouds? Maybe you'll put your name really big here, or the school's name, okay? You can decide that, but I do need you to make sure that you put your name on the front of your paper. Okay, for all of our projects, we are going to sign our work. So I'll put my name right here. You can put it wherever you want on the front of your paper. All right, now I'm going to get to coloring mine in. I will speed it up so you don't have to watch me color it in for a long time it takes to color something in. And while I'm coloring, you guys can color. And when you're completely finished, you can turn it into me. All right, let's get to coloring. Alrighty, so if we look back and answer our question from today, it said, how can I use vertical and horizontal lines to make art? So in this project, we used horizontal and vertical lines to make squares and rectangles for our school building shape. So we were able to use both lines in our project. So let's look back at this guy right here. This is what mine looks like. I'm excited to see what your school building looks like. Remember, you can click Add Response to this assignment and take a picture of this with your iPad or Chromebook or whatever you're using to create or to get into Seesaw. So I'm so excited you guys are here, and I am looking forward to our next project and to creating more art with you. All right, see you later, East Penn and West Creek Hills.